Hey there, welcome back to another episode of Living in San Antonio. Today we're going to talk about how much it really cost in 2024 to live in San Antonio, Texas. So if that's what you're looking for, that's the kind of information that you want, stick around because we're going to hit it right now. So the first thing I'm going to talk about is transportation. So the thing about San Antonio is that even though it's only the seventh largest city in the United States, it is pretty spread out. So transportation is going to cost you a little bit. Now, there's a couple of modes of transportation that you can use. One obviously is your car, but the second one is our public transportation, which the system is a via bus system. It's weird because San Antonio a while back had tried to pass a law or a bill or a proposal to install a light rail system, which would have really come in handy. But unfortunately, San Antonians are old school and they're super cheap, so they didn't want to raise taxes in order to raise money for these light rails. And I think, honestly, it bit us in the ass. So we stick to this system called the Via Bus system, which is pretty good because it takes you all over town. If you really don't mind sitting in a bus and transferring downtown into a different part of the city, then it works. But if you don't have time or you don't like being out in public with a bunch of other people that you don't know, the via system may not be good for you. And if you live in the outskirts in areas like Bernie or New Braunfels or Spring Branch, the bus system isn't going to do you much help because it only goes up to and about the 1604 area and very slightly outside it. So let's talk about what does it cost in order to ride the Via bus. So I have written down all the prices because it's important that you know this, and it is kind of economical, but again, I think it falls short of what you might need if you live here in San Antonio. So if you want a 31-day pass, it's going to be $38 a month. Now, there are some reduced fares that include things like for military, for students, for senior citizens, and the reduced rate for a 31-day pass is $19. But you have to look at the fine print. You have to inquire at the VIA internet site so you can find out exactly what applies to you. If you only want a 7-day pass, that's going to run you $12. So $12 ain't too bad for 7 days, and the reduced price for that one is $6. If you want a 1-day pass where you can jump on, I don't know why you want to jump on the bus and just tour San Antonio through the bus, that's going to cost you $2.75 a day and $1.35 for the reduced price. So if in a pinch you need to go somewhere and you want to jump on the Via bus for a day, that's probably your best bet. Now, they do have a semester pass for students, which is also $38 for the entire semester. So whether it's a spring semester or the fall semester, if you're a student, you're in luck. Or if you have children that are students in one of the universities or community colleges, you can buy them this bus pass and they can find their own way to school because guess what? They're adults now. And then you do have an annual pass. I think this is probably the best value because if I needed to ride the bus and I knew I was going to ride it for a year, I would buy the bus pass, the annual bus pass, which is $365, which is $1 a day. That's not too bad. As long as you take the bus every day, you'll get your money's worth. But here's the thing is that you get to pay for it and you don't have to worry about it for a whole year. So that's a good thing. Now we do, as I kind of mentioned, you do have to transfer. So the way the bus system works is it goes from the outskirts of town, it goes into downtown, and then the bus line itself changes names. The bus continues, but it goes to a different bus line going out of town. So let's say that you want to, maybe you're in the south side of San Antonio and you want to go to the north side. Let's say you want to go to Stone Oak. So you're going from the south side, you take the bus into town. If the bus line is the same one, then you can just stay on the bus and it'll go to Stone Oak, but it probably isn't. So you're going to have to get into town, you're going to have to get off, figure out where the next bus line that goes to Stone Oak is, jump on that one with the transfer, which is free. but you jump on that bus and then you head to the outskirts of town. So if you've seen my other video, it's a map video. San Antonio is like two big circles, and then it has all these spokes that are connecting it. So you have to go into town, transfer, and then head out of town. Now, some other prices that they have something called the Via Link. That's $1.30. Via Trans Child, I'm assuming that this is what you're going to be when you have a child, is 90 cents. They do have parking rides, though. I want to mention the parking rides. I think this is a good deal because DUIs are expensive, right? And if you've seen any of my other videos, I tell you that San Antonio just loves to party. And whenever they do party, they have these big events, whether they're downtown, they're at the Alamo Dome, they're at the AT&T Center, or wherever they are, they usually offer a park and ride. So the park and ride is you go to these designated areas which are owned by VIA. They're basically big parking lots. You park there, you jump on a bus, and then it'll take you to the venue, which is normally downtown. This works great during Fiesta Week because you don't want to get into downtown during Fiesta Week because you're going to have a really difficult time finding parking. And if you do find parking, guess what? You're going to pay an arm and a leg to park there. So it's $1.30 per person. So let's say you're a family of four. You want to go downtown. You don't want to deal with the drivers because the drivers suck here. And you don't want to deal with the parking or paying those high prices. For $1.30 each, you can go downtown. So that's what, $4.20? You can go downtown, have a good time, come back, get in your car, and then go home. So the VIA park and rides are a very good deal. I highly recommend them. You don't have to deal with traffic. Imagine the stress that you relieve or that you alleviate by not going into downtown during those kind of events. And then they do have something called a van pool, which is like a carpool, but they're vans. And you have to just contact their website or go on their website and see what the prices are for that because they're different depending on what part of town you're coming in from. So my name is Jesse Lopez. I'm the owner of Blue Utopia Realty here in San Antonio, Texas. I'm a native San Antonio. I've lived here the majority of my life. I did serve 23 years in the United States Air Force. And in that time, I found that it was so difficult to move to a new city. I mean, I lived all over Europe. I've lived all over the Middle East. I've lived all over the United States. And when I was dragging my family with me to these places, it was hard to really plan because there was so little information. We didn't have YouTube back then, so that's why I created this channel. I wanted to make sure to give you all the information that you need in order to successfully and smoothly transition into San Antonio. And the second reason I do this channel is because I love San Antonio. Like, it didn't matter what part of the world I was in. Every time I was able to come back to San Antonio, especially during Fiesta Week, I found my way back here because it's just a nice place. And I can say that because I've actually lived here my entire life, and I've also lived in other parts of the world. So I can tell you that the people are friendly here, and know that they're friendly here. People on the East Coast, not so friendly. People on the West Coast, But, here in San Antonio, it's a really nice place. So if that's the kind of information that you're looking for, if you want expert advice on someone who grew up here and knows this town, not somebody who's just transplanted here and pretends to know this information, then do me a favor, hit the subscribe button, tap on that bell so you're notified every single time I put out new content. And if you have any recommendations on something that you want me to cover, please do me a favor. Comment below, send me a DM, send me a smoke signal. I'll answer them all. Just know that I have your back when you're moving to San Antonio. All right. Well, the next thing that I want to cover is something that I love to do. And actually, no, we're not even going to go there yet. We're going to continue talking about transportation because I only talked about public transportation, but there's obviously other ways to get around town. And depending on what part of town you're in and where you want to go, one other great option is taking an Uber. And this is what my wife and I do. We do it all the time. If you watch my video on Alamo Heights, that's where we live in San Antonio, which is only 4 miles from downtown. Really nice place to live in, really great community. But sometimes we just don't want to deal with the traffic downtown. And we love going downtown. I mean, there's just so much stuff to do that we're like, hey, you know what? Let's jump in an Uber, go downtown. So for my wife and I to go from our home in Alamo Heights to downtown San Antonio, it'll cost us about $7, which is nothing. Like I will pay $7 for you to pick me up at my house and then take me where I'm going and then bring me back, $7 later. So all in all, $14. We get to go downtown, enjoy ourselves. I don't even think we can find parking for $14. That's how crazy it is. So we take an Uber, and I've actually had friends that live in the outskirts of San Antonio. Actually, some have gone all the way to Canyon Lake on an Uber, and it only cost them about $100. So I think that's a great deal. Again, they come and pick you up at your home. They drop you off at the doorstep where you're trying to go for $7 to $100. Man, I would do it all day. But if I have to move around, and I do, because my business, being a real estate agent, I have to go all over San Antonio. So I do jump in my truck. I have a Toyota Tundra, which is not energy efficient. It's a great truck, but let's face it, it doesn't get that great of gas mileage. But I'm not too worried about it because the average fuel costs, or the average price per gallon for gasoline, is about $3.35. And that's pretty steady. Now, just like the rest of the country, the prices will shoot up, they'll spike up, they'll come down, depending on whatever's going on with OPEC and, all the people that pull the strings. But actually, in a couple of weeks ago, maybe 2 weeks ago, the gas prices were at 307, which I was like, hey, time to fuel up, which I always fuel up anyways. And then just the other day, they were at 373. And I stayed away from the pump for a little bit, and then luckily I did because, again, I got to go fuel up, and I think it was like $3.32. So on average, about $3.35 is what you could expect, but we don't have those crazy California prices like $6. Like I couldn't do it. So that's what it costs in order to fuel up for the gas prices, and then obviously if you're driving a car. Don't be that guy or gal that doesn't have insurance, because insurance is going to cost you a little bit, right? So to give you an idea, my wife owns a Lexus and I own a Toyota Tundra, and both of those cars have full insurance, and we pay about $138 a month for insurance on our vehicles. And that's full coverage insurance. So if you have a car that you don't care too much about, and you just need liability insurance, which is a requirement in Texas to have at minimum liability insurance, then you want to make sure that your prices will probably be a little bit less than $138 a month. And of course, they vary from carrier to carrier. So do your due diligence. If you need help, I actually have a phenomenal insurance agent that does all my business insurance, all my personal insurance, home insurance, like everything, right? All right. So speaking of business, I work from home sometimes. Sometimes I'm here in the office, but I definitely need internet in order to conduct business. And I think the entire world is pretty much strapped to that concept where we need internet. So how much does internet cost in San Antonio? Well, we didn't always have it, but we now have Google Fiber in most parts of the city. I know that we didn't have it up until maybe 6 months ago, somewhere around there. So we got Google Fiber. It was awesome because they were like digging up all the streets and laying the fiber, and I was like, yes, like when can we subscribe? Or yeah, subscribe, right? Speaking of subscribing, if you haven't already done so, hit the subscribe button because I'm going to be giving you more information. So hopefully this is working out for you. But anyway, we subscribed to Google Fiber, and that cost us $103 a month for a 2 GB speed. And let me tell you, they're not like AT&T. They're not like Verizon. Like they tell you, oh, you have a 1 GB, speed, and then you do the speed test on your computer, and it's not that at all. It's like maybe 200 megabits per second. The Google Fiber is on fire. Like I literally use them, and this is at home. Here at the office, I have AT&T, and man, I wish I had Google Fiber here because I would gladly give them $100 a month for that kind of speed. But anyway, I digress. It is fast internet. It is $103 a month. It is lightning fast. So if you're looking and you need to figure out if you need internet service or not, Google Fiber, if it's available in your area, you're totally going to rock it. It's going to be worth the $103 that you spend. Now, cell phones, I didn't realize this, but our cell phone bill is out of control. And this may just be me, uh, but I didn't know because my wife pays most of the bills. And I asked her today, I was like, hey, honey, how much do we pay for cell phones? And she told me $400. So we pay $400 and we have four devices. We have an iPad and three phones, and we pay $400. That's a lot. I didn't know we paid that much. So, but hey, I guess when you're attached to this thing, I mean, we walk around with this thing everywhere, right? So we need it. $400. Boom, here you go. That's what it costs to have a cell phone. I'm pretty sure there's some people, and I hope in San Antonio, that pay less than I do, but for the most part, that's what I pay, $400 a month. Now, this is the part where we get to where I love, right? So I love to eat. But before I tell you how much it costs to eat in San Antonio, I just want to ask you, is this information working out for you? Like, do you want different information? Like, what are your questions? I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you get all the information you need before you move here so you can have a good time and enjoy yourself just moving here. So if that's something that you're looking for, or you have a question and you don't want to comment down below, because trust me, I know sometimes I don't want to comment on things either, do me a favor. Send me a text. My phone number is right here. Send me a text, send me an email, send me a smoke signal. I will answer you. Like, I've heard stories of when people call someone that said, hey, call me, and they don't respond. I'll respond. That I guarantee. Alrighty. So again, give me a call if you have any questions, or you want me to cover something, or part of town, a question you have, or whatever. I'm here for you. All right, getting back to eating. I know how much it costs to eat breakfast, because if you haven't seen my video yet about San Antonio and breakfast tacos being a staple, well, that's a real thing. Like, that's what we eat every morning, for the most part. But anyway, if you're eating breakfast tacos in the morning, you're going to be spending probably about $5 to $10, depending on the tacos that you buy. So we have different types of tacos. Some have meat in them, some are just eggs, and some are beans and cheese. I mean, it's just a variety. Whenever you pick out your favorite, you're going to know it, because you're going to be like, wow, this is phenomenal. But breakfast tacos cost probably about $5 to $10 a day. If you go out to eat every day, that's going to add up pretty quick. But if you're going out to just a regular fast food restaurant, let's just say Burger King, McDonald's or something like that, you're probably, I mean, I remember the day when you could go out for about $7 a meal, and you would get enough food, but I don't think that's the case anymore. So right now, I think I'm spending about $20 every time I go somewhere to eat. If I'm going out to lunch, or that's not dinner, just lunch. If I'm going out to lunch, I'm going to spend about an average of $20. Um, the drinks are the most expensive part. Like, I don't know what it's like in the part of town or the part of the United States that you're from, but drinks here are going to cost you anywhere from $2.50 to like $4. And I think that's insane. I just have a water. Thank you. Like, that's cheaper. It actually does make a difference in your bill. So if you want to be cheap like me, which I'm not really cheap, but you need to drink water anyway. So just get a cup of water. That's cool. But if you're going to go sit down and you're going to sit in a restaurant, like a waiter's going to come up to you and serve you, ask you what you want to eat and all that, you're looking at about $30 a person. There's a lot of restaurants here in San Antonio where that's about the average price you're going to spend, about $30. There's some Mexican restaurants that are delicious, and they're a lot cheaper than $30. So if you want to know where those are, hey, get a hold of me. I'll let you know. Or once you get ready to move here, let me know. I'll take you out to one of them. We'll go have a nice meal. The drinks, like I said, are the most expensive. Sit down lunch and a dinner, also about $30. But if you want to go to a fine dining restaurant, something like where you're eating steak or you're eating, some really good food, be prepared to shell out about $100 per person. My wife and I go out on a date, and it's not uncommon for us to spend $300. I know I said $100 a person, but my wife and I eat like three people. Just joking. We don't eat like three people, but with drinks and appetizers and all that stuff, we do spend quite a bit. So we don't go out, fine dining all the time, but we do, anniversaries, birthdays, that kind of stuff. We'll go out. There's a ton of restaurants here in San Antonio that are great steak places. I mean, we are in Texas. It's like the beef capital of the world. So there's a lot of choices, a lot of Italian restaurants, and all that good stuff, and of course the Tex-Mex food. So um, but if we just want just regular entertainment and we just want to go out and have a good time, maybe we want to go play mini golf. So mini golf, we've spent anywhere, and this is a family of three, so we have a 10-year-old son, my wife and I, and we could spend probably about $50-$60 for the night just going out to play miniature golf. That doesn't include drinks. That doesn't include eating. That's just the actual mini golf fees that we pay to be out. But you know what? When you're out playing mini golf with your family, I mean that's great. You're building memories, and you're having a good time. So there's a few um, different options that you have when you move here to San Antonio. So if putt putt is your thing, there's one that they call Monster Golf, which the lights turn down. There's neon lights, and you putt putt in the dark. And there's another one called Cool Crest, which is in the west side of San Antonio. It's on Woodlawn Avenue. That has been there for years. Like it's a great outdoor venue. They have two different 9-hole courses that you can go on. You can play all 18 holes if you want. But yeah, it's a great outdoors. They have a little, what do you call it, a bar where you can get a drink, have some drinks while you're playing golf, miniature golf, and have a good time. We also have really good golf courses here in San Antonio. I just took up golf, and the golf. Okay, let's talk about golf. If you like golfing, I wasn't even planning on saying this, but the golf green fees. I think I spent probably about $140 for two people to go play 9 holes of golf. We have golf courses on the Air Force bases, so if you're military, that's probably the place that I would go. But we have TPC San Antonio, which is a major golf course, and we just have so many other ones in San Antonio and the outlying cities of San Antonio, so the surrounding or the greater San Antonio area. Um, if you want to go to a movie, you're going to expect to spend about $100, right? Again, this is a family of three or four. You could get away with that. The tickets themselves are not that expensive. You're probably going to spend about maybe $30 on the tickets, but where they get you is the food and the drinks, right? The drinks again, especially if you're drinking beer. If you like to drink beer, and most places here in San Antonio serve alcohol in the theaters. So if you're going to partake from that, I mean, probably easy $100. So be prepared for that. But there is this one place that's pretty cool. It's not in San Antonio itself, but it's in New Braunfels, which is right up the road, right up I-35. It's the Stars and Stripes Drive-In. They do have a military discount, and I'll say this for the military people because I'm retired Air Force. Um, San Antonio has a ton of military discounts. So if you're military, ask them, do you have a military discount? Because they're not going to tell you unless they see. Sometimes when I open my wallet and they see my military ID, they're like, oh, military, and they'll give me the discount. But if you don't ask, they're not going to tell you. So San Antonio is just a military-friendly city. They love veterans, they love active duty, and they give you these discounts. Me, even like 10% off. I look at it like it's paying my taxes, my sales tax, right? So New Braunfels, Stars and Stripes. I know I went off on a tangent, but that one's going to cost you probably about $30 for the movie itself. Uh, $30 for a family of three, because again, my family's three, and then of course maybe what, however much you eat or drink, it's going to be another $60-$70 at the snack bar. But the good thing about drive-ins is you can take your own beverages in, you can take a cooler, you can take some lawn chairs, you can spread out, have a good time. You don't have to eat their food or buy their drinks. You just got to pay for the ticket to get in. So Stars and Stripes, check them out. They're pretty good place to go. My wife and I actually just went the other day, and we were watching that movie Migration, which I didn't know was a cartoon, and they kind of conned me into it. But you know what? Hey, family time. You can't put a price tag on that, right? So, all right, moving on. I like to eat, and sometimes I like to cook. Actually, I like to cook quite a bit. But if you're going to go to the grocery store and you're going to buy groceries, then the staples there, you can buy a loaf of bread. And our first off, this is HEB prices. If you haven't heard of HEB, HEB is like the dominant grocery store here in San Antonio and the majority of South Texas. So HEB, high quality grocery store. They have everything and anything you can think of. Some of them even sell furniture, which is crazy, but that's a different story. But you can buy a loaf of bread there for about $2.50. So a loaf of bread is about $2.50. Of course, if you want organic and you want, some high-end stuff, it's going to cost you a little bit more. But just for the average, loaf of bread, $2.50. Milk, a gallon of milk is going to cost you about $3.70 unless you go organic. So if you go organic, it's going to be about $6 a gallon. And then the one that my wife and I buy, we buy a half a gallon because we don't drink a lot of milk, but we buy a half gallon organic milk, and that's $4 for a half gallon. But it's, to me, it's worth it because we don't drink a lot, so we don't want it to spoil. $4, we have organic milk, and my son's happy. And then eggs. If you like eggs, of course, again, they're a staple. Eggs are going to cost you anywhere from $2.18 a dozen for just regular, run-of-the-mill eggs, all the way up to $6.60 for pasture-raised chickens that lay eggs in a pasture. Okay, so $6.60 for pasture-raised chicken eggs, and then $2.16 for the regular eggs. Now, there's something that you may or may not know about San Antonio or about Texas in general, is that we don't have income tax, which is a great place. That's one of not a great place, which is a great thing. So that's one of the things that brings people to Texas is the lack of a state income tax. You don't have to worry about, the Texas government dipping into your check every week and, taking out taxes and, levying all that stuff. What they do is they do it in small doses, and they're called property taxes and sales taxes. So let's talk about sales taxes first. Everything you buy in San Antonio, these are San Antonio taxes. I didn't research the other cities because I quite frankly don't care. You're moving to San Antonio. But the sales tax in San Antonio is 8.25%. So if you buy $100 worth of stuff and it's taxable, you're going to pay $8.25 on top of the $100. So 8.25%. That's why I'm saying if you're military and you get a 10% discount, it's kind of a wash. And I'm like, yes, thank you. I don't have to pay sales taxes. That's kind of the way I look at it. But property taxes, this is where a lot of people kind of just like go, whoa, wait a minute, that's too much. So property taxes in Texas are just the way the Texas government raises money in order to pay for certain things, right? Like the government needs money in order to operate, and they get it from us, the taxpayers. That's why we're called taxpayers. So property taxes are actually based on the home value, right? So if your home is worth $400,000, that's what they're going to base it on, and these values differ from community to community. So if you live in a community where the school taxes are higher than other communities, then you're going to pay a higher property tax, because the property taxes are comprised of city taxes, they're comprised of school district taxes, community college taxes, city water authority taxes, the Riverwalk taxes, Yo Mama taxes, not that one, but they're comprised of just a bunch of different taxes, and they just lump it all together and then they assess your property. So the taxes in San Antonio, the average is about 2.35% for an average, right? Of course, 2.35%, it just depends on the value of your home. If your home's worth $300,000, it's going to be a lot less than if your home is worth $900,000. So you're paying it based on the value of your home. So the value or the not the national average. The average home price in San Antonio just the last week of December, which is last week, was $400,000. So on a $400,000 home, your property taxes are going to be, I wrote it down, that's why I'm looking at it, $9,408. That's your property taxes. So the property taxes are escrowed. So for most part, if you're financing a home, they'll take that $9,400, they'll chop it up into 12 equal installments, and that's what they take out or add to your mortgage in order for your property taxes to be up to date. So again, 2.35% is the average tax rate for property taxes. Some some communities are much higher and some are much lower. Now, something that you might hear when you move here, when you start talking to people about buying homes or that kind of stuff, is they say, oh, we don't have city taxes, which is true. A lot of the outlying, parts of San Antonio do not have city taxes because they're technically not in San Antonio. So they only charge you county taxes, which, the rates go down to like maybe 1.9% versus 2.35, which could make a big difference. However, here's something that you got to keep in mind. San Antonio is going to keep growing no matter what. We're the seventh largest city in the nation, and we just continue to expand, and we just continue to, acquire more properties called annexation. So we annex more property, and the city gets bigger. So you may not pay taxes now on city taxes, but you will eventually, unless you move like 200 miles away from San Antonio, and then you no longer live in San Antonio. So just keep that in mind, because that's just something that I hear in this industry, that people are like, oh, no city taxes. Well, that could change like from one year to the next. So don't hang your hat on that. And then the next thing I want to say about property taxes, and this is more towards my veteran audience, if you're a disabled veteran and you're 100% disabled in Texas and in San Antonio, you do not pay property taxes. So that $9,400 that you would have been paying in taxes on your $400,000 home, it's taken off. You don't pay property taxes. Thank you for your service. We know you've been through a lot. So that's just what Texas does. We take care of veterans, and that's why a lot of veterans move here. And if you are a veteran, like myself, do me a favor, contact me, because I have something special for you if you're moving here to San Antonio. All right, I got your back. All right, so the next thing that I want to talk about, and I didn't even say this in the beginning of the video, but there's something I'm going to talk to you about that are called hidden taxes, or hidden costs, not taxes, hidden costs to moving to San Antonio that nobody talks about. So stick around for that one, because we're almost there. All right, so healthcare. Healthcare is, it's expensive everywhere you go. You have to, depending on your job, you're going to need healthcare. So depending on your job, hopefully you can get a great insurance coverage through them. But the average medical cost in San Antonio is about $400 to $500 a month. That's for medical insurance, medical care. So if you don't have a good healthcare insurance, it's something you really want to look into, because that's ridiculous. That's a lot of money, $400 to $500 a month. For dental care, that cost is going to be anywhere from $15 to $100 a month. And then for eye care, you're looking at about $15 a month. So those are the costs associated to moving to San Antonio. I'm not sure if I covered all the costs that you're curious about, but if I didn't, do me a favor, write a comment below. Say, hey, Jesse, what about this cost? How much does this cost? There's just so many things, and I can't cover them all. I can't think of them all, but if you think of something, please do me a favor. Let's interact. It's good for the algorithm. It's good for my channel. It's good for other people like you moving to San Antonio that want this information. So ask away, because if you have that question, somebody else probably has it too. Now, we're almost at the end, so I want to talk to you about something that is a cost to moving here that nobody ever tells you about. Nobody covers it, because I look at all these videos and nobody ever talks about it, but they could be deal breakers, right? So the one cost that nobody talks about is taking care of your lawn. And that sounds like a stupid thing for me to say, but it's really not. I lived in Tampa, Florida, and those of you who live in Tampa or have ever been to Tampa or have ever thought of Tampa know this. It rains there almost every single day. I never had to water my lawn there. I never watered my lawn, and my lawn was always green. It was just so lush and beautiful, and I never thought about it because I was like, hey, it is what it is. Like it's a great lawn. I love Florida. And all I had to do was mow it and, sometimes put fertilizer. I didn't even think I did that. But that's just a cost that people don't tell you. So when you move to San Antonio, and actually that's a great thing because it reminds me of what does it cost for electric and water, right? Because I didn't cover that yet. So an average water bill is going to cost you probably about $35, right? But if you have to water your lawn, you're probably looking at doubling that real easy. I actually spent like about $7,000 on resodding my front lawn, and it looked great until it got hot, and then all my grass died. So now I have a bunch of weeds in my front yard. I got to spend another $7,000 to fix it because I just didn't water it. But if you water the lawn, it's not going to be $7,000 expensive, but you actually have nice lawn. But you could count on probably doubling your water bill. Now, utilities is a great thing, and this is not one of the things that we don't cover. Let me finish those, and then we'll come back to utilities. So another thing is home repair. Like people, if you buy a home and you move to San Antonio, I don't think you understand the gravity of the heat here in San Antonio. Like you're gonna have to do some uh, maintenance, right? You're gonna have to do maintenance on your home. You're gonna have to paint your home. You're gonna have to reseal it. You're gonna have to caulk it. You're gonna have to do all these little things to keep up with it because the sun is just so hot here. It literally will bake things. Like I'm not even joking. If you leave a piece of plastic outside for maybe 6 months, it will literally dry rot. So your home's no different. It's not made of plastic, but it is getting beat down by that hot Texas sun. Like every year, we go over 100 days with 100+ degree temperature. That's how hot it is here. So if you don't like the heat, go somewhere else. Go to Austin, go to Dallas, go somewhere else. Don't come here because I wouldn't even go to Austin because that's super expensive. But anyway, I digress. So that's another cost that people don't talk about. And then the last cost that I want to tell you that nobody talks about is something that you're probably going to have to do if you buy a home and then you're going to want to sell it before you leave. And that's going to be to replace the roof. The roofs, again, are on the top of the house and the sun's beating down on them. And most roof warranties are for about 20 years average. And roofs here last about 7 years. Like that's how hot the sun is. Those shingles will get brittle and they'll get pretty nasty. So you'll have to replace those shingles before you actually sell your home. Because if you don't, nobody's going to want to buy the house. They're going to be like, no way, it's got 15-year-old shingles. No, to them, they already see that's a $15,000-$20,000 bill right from the jump. So those are the three costs that nobody talks about. So let's do the last cost and then we'll end it. And that's utilities. Now, I already told you it gets hot here, 100+ days and 100+ degree weather. So if you're, the kind of person that likes to have their air conditioning on at a cool 62, 63, whatever, your utility bill is going to be super high. I think my largest utility bill, and I'm not that guy. Like my wife will put it at 74, and I'm like, man, it's hot in here. But I think our highest bill has been like $350, maybe $400 for electricity. And of course, these are in the summer months. July, August, maybe June, July, August, some of September. So the utility bills can go pretty high during the summer, but in the winter they kind of go a little bit lower. Not a little bit; they go a lot lower. But if you have natural gas, that might go up just a little bit, just to heat your house. But one thing that's been happening recently in San Antonio, and this is just like I guess we're catching up to the rest of the United States or the rest of the world, is people are starting to install solar panels. So when you buy a home in Texas and you get a mortgage to buy the home, and if it has solar panels that are still leased or being paid off, you're going to have to get a second loan to cover that cost. So, what a lot of homeowners do now when they're selling their home is they just pay off those solar panels whenever they sell the house. That way, you don't have to worry about it. You don't have to get a second loan. You don't have to get approved for that additional cost. And some homes are like sub $100 in utility bills because they have these solar panels. I guess the best way to go about it is if you have solar panels, if you have a battery backup and it stores the energy, you can actually use that energy and sometimes sell it back to our monopoly energy company called CPS. So yeah, if you're buying a house, make sure that you ask about the solar panels. If it has any, are they paid off? Are they going to get paid off? Or, what's the deal with that? So if you're thinking about moving to San Antonio, whether it's today, next week, a month, 2 years from now, it doesn't matter. I'd love to help you. That's what I do for a living. I've helped hundreds of families move to San Antonio. I love San Antonio. I like showing them all the little things that other people don't know about unless you've lived here your entire life. Like there's just so many gems around San Antonio, so many things to do, and I guarantee you'll never be bored while you're living here in San Antonio. So if that's something that you want, again, get a hold of me, give me a call, send me an email, text, smoke signal. I got your back when moving to San Antonio. All right, guys. Well, thank you for watching. That is it on the cost of living in San Antonio. If you have any questions, please reach out, let me know. But in the meantime, take a look at some of these videos. We'll see you on the next one.